Imagine waking up every day in a bed that isn't yours, with kids you don't know, eating breakfast at an unfamiliar table, and running around in a yard that just isn't yours. That was my life every day for a few months. I was six. A 6-year-old should be playing with her siblings and baking cookies with her mom and throwing a ball in the yard with her dad, not trapped in a group home separated from her siblings. More than 391,000 children are living in either group homes or placement homes as of 2023. That number is unnecessarily high to the point where something needs to be done. But do we see any changes? No. Because the guidelines for becoming a foster parent are not being enforced in the way they should be. Every day, thousands of children are neglected and abused mentally, physically, and emotionally in their group homes. Not because they're bad children, but because they're misunderstood and taken advantage of. 80% of children in foster care either come in with mental health issues or leave with them. The New York State Department of Child Services states that one of the guidelines of becoming a foster parent is experience with issues of child abuse or neglect. If the supposed loving and supporting parents did have experience with these issues, then we wouldn't have so many children from jumping from home to home. And I'm not the only person that still struggles with mental health issues despite my amazing life I now live outside the system. Every day I struggle with feelings of resentment towards my biological parents. I struggle with sadness because I'm not sure why bad things continue to happen to good people. And I even struggle with anger because I'm extremely scared of making myself vulnerable. That's why I'm doing this talk. This is my biological mother. Now, people have probably never seen her before because I didn't move to the school until after I was already adopted. But the feelings and situations that I've experienced with my mother made me not want to really ever talk about her. Some of the things I've experienced without having a mother for the time I did were things that no kid should ever have to experience. When I was in kindergarten and I was still living at the children's home, we had a Mother's Day party. All the kids had to bring in their mothers to the party. Now, what was I supposed to do? I didn't have a mother to bring to the party. My mom was God knows where, maybe on the street somewhere drinking. I don't know what my mother was doing, but she wasn't there. I had to bring in one of the workers from the children's home. And yes, that was nice. Yeah, I had an intern mother, you could say, but it wasn't my mother. I didn't feel a connection to her like she was mine, and everyone else had the connection but me. And ever since then, I've always felt this feeling of abandonment, because she was just never there for me in the way that she should have been. And yeah, maybe when I got adopted, she came for visits, and so did my biological father. He came for visits too. But they were never there throughout all my experiences, like concerts and my Mother's Day breakfast. Privileges were taken away from me that no child should ever have taken away from them. When I was in the children's home in Poughkeepsie, all I ever wanted to do was cut my hair. Have you guys ever really wanted a haircut and just scheduled an appointment for the next week, and it was easy, you could just go get your hair cut? I wasn't able to do that because when I was in the children's home, we had to get consent from our biological parents to cut our hair. How was I supposed to get consent from them if I didn't know where they were? How do you even explain that to a 6-year-old child? I had to pack my entire life away into one single black garbage bag. Do you know how humiliating and degrading that felt for a little girl? How do you even explain that to anyone? I don't think I would ever have to do that ever again, but the feeling has never left me. According to the Policy Circle, foster care is defined as a temporary living situation for kids whose parents cannot take care of them and whose need for care has come to the attention of child welfare agency staff. The ultimate goal is for children and youth to live in stable families, so foster care is meant to end once the parent or another relative can raise a child, or it is determined that the family cannot or will not care for the child. I'm going to reread that word temporary for you guys. If temporary means a short period of time until a better situation arises, why do we have children that are living in the foster care system until they age out at 18? That is completely unfair, and no child should ever have to experience their entire childhood in the foster care system. And not every story ends in failure. Like I said, mine doesn't, but the majority of them do. We're going to take Amaria Osby, for example. The foster care system has failed so many innocent children. They'll be sent for a wellness visit and do absolutely nothing about it. Amaria Osby. In May of 2022, only a few hours after a child welfare visit from the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, 8-year-old Amaria Osby was murdered by her biological mother. Amaria Osby was on the radar of the DCFS since age 3. Age 3. And it took them that long to even come check on her. And at one point, the DCF office failed to make contact with Amaria or her family for 60 days after a call was reported for neglect. 60 days, this poor baby sat at home while she was being abused by her entire family to the point where she was murdered. Now, why is this happening? If the foster care system was built to help and support children, why do we have innocent children being murdered for nothing, just because their parents didn't want them? I have a success story to maybe help you guys after that one. We have Mia Storm. Mia Storms is a single mother to her 3-year-old daughter, Lily. Mia was in the foster care system as well when she was a child, and they told her that she would never live a successful life, she would be a failure, she would never get anywhere, because she was one that lived in the foster care system until she was 18. Even though Mia has dealt with so many problems involving the system to this day, legal action, she has files and files and files from her case, she still works every single day to give her daughter the best life she possibly can give. And going back to the mental health problems, Mia struggles with extreme depression, and she thought she would never get anywhere in life. She thought she wouldn't even make it to where she is now. But if you can rise up and you can show people that you are better than your past, and if you can show people that you yourself can change your future, you don't need to live in the past. You need to be like Mia, who rose up above and is giving her daughter the best life that she could possibly give. And that's why I'm here today, to explain to you all that people you may never even know are involved with the system. Look around you. Maybe there's someone around you who has had to have CPS come to their house, had to have a welfare visit. Maybe there's someone who's adopted. I know so many people in the school that I didn't even know were adopted until I started telling them I was doing this talk. You never know what other people in your life are going through. That is why it's so important to educate yourself on the topic and realize that you're not the only person in the world who is going through horrible problems. There's other people who can help you, and you don't need to feel alone. Thank you.